thank you everyone for joining this demo. I hope that this is not the last, but this is just the first of a series of demo that we're gonna have in the long time. So I think we're gonna schedule some webinar in the next period, just not so long webinar, but just some kind of slow discussion about new features and new version that we are releasing. So this is the first, and I want to thank everyone for the job that is doing, because we have a lot of hotspots network around the world, and we are really happy about that. And as you know, we are working from a long period together, so we are always listening to our customers, and in this case to our reseller. So this version that we are releasing in this next weeks. Let's say that listen to all the new features that you ask, and all the new improvement that were made were based on your request mostly. So we can start with this new version. You can see that also the login screen is different, because we start by changing almost all the backend. So the functionality that you are used to have, of course, they're still there, and we add a lot of feature. But we first start by analyzing the layout and the new version. So you can see that it's much more clear, much more brighter. We also changed the logo. And once you log into the system, you can see that everything basically is changed from the layout side. So we have always the sidebar on the left that is not changed, of course, and we have this main content on the right with the dashboard. You can see that there are some new things like the tabs that you can see here. Now we go on detail on this. And then we have this sidebar on the left that is a little bit changed, because you can also close this sidebar and you can pin it. And now we take all this feature and we analyze all this feature. And the reason we did this was to be responsive, first of all, because the first version of the Hotspot Network Manager were made just for desktop, because we thought that most of users will use the desktop version. But during the time, we saw that the user also used the iPad or other small devices in order to manage the network. So we just realized this version, this new administration, in order to be responsive. So you can close this sidebar in order to have much more space on the dashboard in order to analyze the data. So with iPads or small screen devices, it's really cool. And also you can pin it, so you can choose to hide or open. So it's just up to you. If you click on something, it will close. So this is one of the first things that we did on the layout. So we have this new sidebar that can be open. And then on the top here, as you saw, we have this tab. In this case, we have this dashboard. And if we open something, it could be any of the options that there are on the admin that you already know. You can see that we have these tabs. So this is really cool, because it saves a lot of CPU for the system, and it's also much more faster for you as a user. So every tab is open. So it's like kind of a Chrome kind of browser. So you're already used to this. You have no problems in using this. You can switch between system settings and external authentication, in this case, simply by clicking. And there is no request on the moment of the click. The previous version, every click was a request, so it was a little bit stressful for the server. And in this case, you just load the content for one time, and then this content is loaded. So you have no problems, and the system will be much more faster for you and for the hardware. As you saw, we have also these new colors and new icons, because one of the things that we want to improve in this version is the usability of the system. And the thing that was not so correct in the previous version was how we manage the info. So in this case, we try to group this information, and we try to group this with this Accordion menu that you already know how to use it. You can find it in some websites or web application. And so all the information that are related, in this case, for example, to the email message, are inside this tab. You can open this for the SMS. So everything is well maintained and everything is centered on the on this accordion menu. And also for you as a reseller that maybe you can help your managers, your client, it's much more easier for you to say to your customer where some options are, maybe, because this was one of our problems. I mean, we should tell to our customer, go on the middle of the page and try to find a sales certificate, for example. And in this case, you can just say, look at the red dot here with radius, open this, and you can say the timeout, for example. So this is much more friendly for the user and much more friendly also for you as a reseller in order to help your client. So these are the accordion menu, and you can find this not only in the administration but also on the data. So every option inside the menu, we can edit, for example, a domain, and you will find all the information grouped inside this. So these are all the options that are redesigned totally, and it's much more faster and it's much more easier to use. You can see that now the tabs are open, and so I can switch between reseller, domain, authentication, system settings. I just save and I can leave that tab open, so you have no problems on this, and it's much more faster and much more cool for you and for your users. Other things that we add, talking about some new features, not only layout, is the possibility to manage the access point. So in this case, we were used to have, this was the structure that we had in the previous version. So we had the reseller, then we had the manager, the domain, and then we have the gateway. In this case, we also changed the gateway icon, so it's not more the Wi-Fi icon anymore, because we switched this to another feature that is the access point. In the next minutes, you will see where we put that icon. So this is the structure that we have right now. So reseller, manager, domain, gateway, and then we have this map and this floor. So we call it the access point map. I can just enter here so you will understand much better. So this is the map of the access point that we had. So in this new version, you will have the possibility to manage all your access points and gateway in a map. The map could be internal like this, so you can just upload your map and set your gateway with the simple click. This is the icon I was telling to you before. So you can add the access point. You can put this access point in the place that you want. Even if you scale the map, you have no problems on this. So we work a lot on this, and the result is incredible. And you can edit and add some of the features that you add on the gateway. So you have the coverage meters. You can choose the hardware type and the network settings. So you can set up all the access point information from this page, and then you can see where this access point is. So this is really useful if you have a lot of access points in a single place. You can just, for the moment, you just have to remember where these hotspots or these access points are, and in this case you have everything well maintained in this map. The map, as I told you, could be internal like this, so you just upload the map of an airport or any installation. It supports also SVG map. Or it could be an external map. So we based on open maps, and you can just load the location of the gateways and then put these access points around the world. So it just depends on you and which is your business. So this is another thing that you can do. Of course, you can add the access point. You can also enter in the single dashboard of an access point. This is another feature that we add. And in this case, from the single access point, you can see the latency from the gateway. So basically, you can see if it's up, down, if it's up or down, and you can move in order to fix if there is some kind of problem. Another thing that you can do is to enter in the list of access point. So from any level, so from the gateway or from the domain or manager, you can access to the list of access point. From the list of access point, you can also see the real-time status of the access point. So the access point is communicating with Hotspot Network Manager, and we can detect if it's working or not, basically. So if you see the red, of course, it's not active. It's green, it's okay. So you can then enter in the option of the single access point and edit any of the information that we saw before. So IP address, you can also switch between other options like the software, hardware, and so on. You already know this feature. This is supported for, of course, we work with MikroTik, and we have a lot of feature with MikroTik, but it also works with other brands. So of course we will have not all the features that MikroTik has, but you can still run the access point, the new feature access point, with any access point that you want. So this is one of the best things that we add in this version. We are trying and we are using this in our internal network, and we saw that it's working great. Also the coverage that you can set on the single access point, you can see that is of course, we don't provide any default coverage based on the brand. You need to add manually your coverage, but it's just a kind of thing that helps you to analyze your network and see which area are covered or not. So this is one of the best features that we add, and connected to this, we also have the possibility to have the notification for the down of the if there are problems on the gateway or access point. From the manager level, you can see that we have this new notification, and this is the status of the gateway or the access point. So you can choose to enable the possibility to send email or SMS from the system in order to send email if there is a down on an access point or on a gateway. So this is really cool, and you are always aware of what's going on with your network. It could be done, as you saw, on the reseller level or on the manager level, so you are covered by all the information that you want. If you have an internal installation that you don't want to be notified, you just don't put notification. If you wanna, maybe you just change or upgrade something on your network, you want to be sure that your network is safe, you can enable a notification for the single installation, and so you will receive notification only about that. So this is the new access point features that we add, and I'm sure you're gonna love it, because we are using this a lot in our internal network, and we saw that it's really, really useful. We go back here from the tab. You can see that you can close if you have something more open. You can just go back and open. So even this is another feature. And so these are some of the features that we add, but the next one that I'm telling to you right now is the Gdpr. That is the new privacy policy. That is the new terms of service and all this new license system that is working in Europe and also outside Europe. So we had to change a lot of things on the Hotspot Network Manager in order to be complain with this new GDPR. And the first one that we add, that maybe is the most important, is that if I log out, I just want to show you this from the beginning, because if you upgrade your installation with this version 6, once you enter on the system, you will see that you will have this message. So I have this user. So this is the new message that will appear on the first time that you log in with your user. So it's the license to use the product. We never had this license, but we had to create this in order to be compliant with the GDPR. And in order to use the system, you need to agree on this. The thing that is important for you to know is that we provide the system that is GDPR ready. So if a user is using the system and with all the default feature, the system will be compliant with the GDPR. But it could be that a reseller or a manager or someone is changing something. Maybe you can just uncheck the possibility to add the marketing consent or just the email address. So in that case, the system is not compliant anymore. So we create this license in order to be aware of that and what's going on with your network. So you're always part of this GDPR, and you always must check what's going on with your network because the data are stored on the Hotspot Network Manager, and so you are responsible for that data. And in this case, I have to agree to continue, and you will not see that pop up anymore because we just agree with the condition. This is one of the first thing because it's the license of the Hotspot Network Manager that we add. Talking about users, we also upgrade this to the user. Now I have a little example for you. So if I open the gateway, sorry. Okay, so this is the preview of an example that I made for you for a barbecue festival hotspot, for example, and then the login. Of course, we didn't change on the welcome portal side, but you can see that if you start the registration, in this case, we have the possibility to add, we create a custom form with name, last name, email, and we also have this. So this are all the checks that need to be mandatory on the registration form. So authorization to process the data. If I click here, of course, any of your manager must have its own privacy policy. It's not correct to have a generic privacy policy for everyone. You need to have a specific one for any installation. So be aware of that with your client because every privacy policy must be different because the treatment of the data is different for any place. It could be that you are selling the data or just maintaining the data. So you need to be clear with your customer about this. And the customer must check this, so the privacy and the condition. The condition has a separate content that, of course, you already know inside the system. You can edit, and the privacy. So it must be checked and it must be approved from the user. So we just create a little example here, and we go to the next page. I have a free hotspot. Okay, I didn't put all the checks. Okay, now I logged into the system, and you can see that the profile app appear. So we also changed a lot of things inside this profile app because this is the heart of this new GDPR system. Because from this place, from this app, the user can change all its information, so name, last name, and all the information that he provide. He can also add, or he can also uncheck some of the content. This is very important for the new law because in any moment the user can choose to uncheck the content of the terms of the treatment of its personal data. You can also see that here we have this number. This is another important thing that we add because it's the revision of the privacy policy. So let's say that you change something on your privacy policy. We still remember the previous version. I mean, I go back so I can show you how you can do it because we have this new possibility to add the privacy policy. Well, this is another thing that I have here that now I explain to you is much better. So another thing is this one. So the possibility to let the user land to this page even if he is outside the network. So we can create a verified email that the user will receive after the registration. And in this verify email, you will have this external welcome portal URL that you can paste here on your HTML template that the user will click in order to reach this page, even when the user is at home, let's say. So in another moment, in another place, he can still reach this page and edit this content. So this is very important because in any moment and in any time, the law said that the user can delete or uncheck or do anything on its data. So just remember this, that it's very important. And on the form, of course, you already know this, but we saw this in a few seconds, that you can request the acceptance of the condition. So this is one of the most important thing that you need to enable on the form, and this is one of the things that we set up as a default once we give you the system with the new version. So this is what we have done with the new GDPR and privacy policy and all these new standards. So from the profile app that was redesigned and with new features, you can also download the PDF. This is another request from the law. The user should download a PDF with all the information that we have, and he can just see its own information. So in this case, these are the information that we collect from the user. He should be able to download this information. And another thing that we have, of course, is the possibility to change the password or to change and to show the usage type. But this is not part of the law. These are part of the old, let's say, profile app. So basically, the new features are the possibility to change and edit the checks and the revision of the privacy policy and the terms of service, and the download of the PDF. So we are 100% compliant with the law. Another important thing that we can talk about is that we saw. Let me just disconnect so I will show you this. These are some of the, there are a lot of new features that we add. I just want to show you the most important for us, because we work a lot also for this Turkish public identification. So I don't know if you have a Turkish customer or if you have a kind of a request like this, but now you can, Turkish customer can log in, and this identification is based on the passport number that will be confirmed by a state website. So we have this integration with the state, and the user can log in with their passport number, and is 100% correct and checked by the state. So this is what was one of the requests, and we make it available for anyone. So from the new version 6, you can also enable this type of authentication. We also changed a little bit of thing on the social network, because as you can see here, we don't have any more social login, but we have this external authentication. Now the thing is much more wide, because we have the, of course, Facebook, Twitter, and all the social network that we were used to have. And we also add this. This is a very important thing, because you have the possibility to add an OAuth custom authentication. So basically, any service, website, or anything that is based on the OAuth protocol could be integrated with the system. So you can create your custom social login and add it to the login page in just a few clicks. Of course, if you already know this, if you're skilled on this, in a few minutes you will set up this. And we also add the LED-up authentication. This was also in one of the latest version 5, I think, but we upgrade this, and so you have always the possibility to use the Hotspot Network Manager in a company environment using the Windows authentication. So this is another thing that we add and always appear on the social login side. So these are some of the features that we add and that were asked from our customers and our reseller. One final thing that we asked that was really important, and some users asked, was the possibility to have a MAC address binding on the system, and now we have, because the example was, for example, the IPTV of the hotel or any device on the Internet of Things or other stuff that has no screen or no possibility to open the welcome portal. So in this case, we add the possibility to create a user on the domain. And what you need to do is just simple, because you just need to add your MAC address on the username. So you add the MAC address of the device on the username, and previously you need to check one thing on the gateway settings, and in that way, on the general data, I think, you need to check this on the option, I think, or something. Okay, so you need to enable the authentication with the MAC address, and in this moment, if you create a user with a MAC address username, the system will let the user log in. Be aware that this check will kind of slow your connection, not your connection, but your the login for the user, because every time a user log in, we check if that username is a MAC address or not. So if you're using this feature, just enable this and you have no problems. If you know that you're not using, leave this unchecked and your login will be much more faster. So these are some of the new features that we add. And as you can see, the tab is really useful because we can always go back. We have the maps. So we work a lot on this version, and we are sure that you as a reseller and your customer and our customer will love it, because we work a lot on the usability of the system, and also this new layout, new colors will make the system much more faster and easy to use. So this was the first presentation, and in the next week, what we are planning to do is just to schedule this webinar, as I told you at the beginning of the demo, and on a specific argument. So maybe, I don't know, next time we can talk deeply about access point configuration and all this part, and maybe another time about templates and other stuff. So we want to make this webinar a new thing for you as a reseller, in order to keep in touch with us and with all the new features that we are releasing and the features that we are working on. And also, we want to listen to you and to hear if there is something that we can do, or some new features that we can add to the system in order to help you on your networks and on your selling, of course. So this was the presentation, and well, if you have some question, you can just write on the chat. I will read it. Sorry. Okay, for the advertising, at the moment we don't have any new feature on that. All the settings that we have are the same. The thing that I can tell you is that we are starting working on the front end. For the next period, we will work on the front end, on the welcome portal. So this will be connected, sure, on the campaign and on the banners and on the feature. The upgrade from the version 5 will be the classic update that you are used to do. I mean, with just one click, you upgrade the system to the latest version. We already try all the things, and it's working great, so you will have no problems on that. Talking about license and about thing, you can refer to Marisa, to the for all the sales and all the stuff that are related to the license.